Welcome, listeners, back to the Dream Stream. I am your host, Yiskah Koock, here with my fellow dream worker, Ellen Ronis. It's great to see you, Ellen. I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. It's been a minute. Yeah.
It's been a minute. So, you were saying you hadn't been remembering your dreams, but now you are again?
Yeah. It's been a really anxious time for me. I struggle with anxiety. For those
Yes,
for those who don't know that, um, for those who know me, they know, but
right.
um, and it's been like high intensity.
Yes,
So when that happens, I don't sleep well and I don't dream well. I
yes,
don't
yes.
remember. But last night I just kind of was like had a talking. I gave myself a talking to.
You
So
remember your dream?
I calmed down and I did a meditation and I
That's
so yes, and then so I slept really well and I remembered a couple of dreams and they were really pretty interesting and I think related to what's going on in my life, which
Would you consider that dream incubation? How would you coin that? Because that's something I feel like we
um
all need to know how to do to
yeah,
quiet
I
the
didn't
mind.
I didn't consciously do that,
Okay.
but I consciously had better what they call sleep. What do they call it? Sleep hygiene. It's just
I actually I have never heard
you never heard that term, sleep hygiene? Yeah, because like
hygiene. I don't think
a
so.
lot of people have issues with sleep partially because they do things like eat too late, which
Right.
oh, that's me,
Right.
and watch TV or
Or like use the bed for too many things, not
right,
just anything.
exactly. Things like that, or you're leaving the lights on, or like all kinds of things, or not,
Yes.
so just like I definitely was very consciously, making sure I just got into bed early and had my journal handy, and I did a little meditation. I really needed to calm down. I was like
Yes.
about something particular, which I'll share after, but
Is,
um,
would you consider, do you consider yourself to have a meditation practice?
um, I do, but I'm fairly lax about it,
Okay.
to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I go in and out like probably most of us. I go in and
Sure.
out.
Sure. Sure.
I do TM meditation.
Okay, and can you describe what does that mean?
Yeah, so that just means, you have to get a mantra. So somebody gives you a mantra, you pay them like a ridiculous amount of money to get it.
Transcendental meditation.
Yeah, transcendental meditation, that's what it is. And so they give you a mantra and it's just a sound. It's not a word, it doesn't mean anything. So it's not supposed to kind of um, stir up any thought or any, image. It's just a sound. And so you
Okay.
recite it inside your head. You just recite it over and over. And the idea is that, it's like looking at a candle or anything. I think it's just that when
Yes.
thoughts start to wander, you just come back
Yes.
here. And
Yes.
there's something about that that allows the unconscious to kind of bubble up
I
from
love that.
underneath without you really thinking because you're on your mantra. So sometimes it works really
Vibration.
well.
We
Yeah.
always talk about vibrations, the vibrations of the world. I mean, we used to say, "Oh, he has good vibes," but now I think we're a little more detailed about what
Yeah.
that means. That
Yeah.
all the sound healing and that everything, we have the symphony of the stars, and there's so much of what I've been learning for the past many years has been about the vibration
Yeah.
in our world. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like chanting and stuff is definitely vibrating your own energy. This
Yeah,
is an internal chant, so it's not
you don't
the actual physicalized vibrations, but
bring it inside.
yeah, yes. Yeah, so it's pretty great when I do it. When I do
Yeah.
it consistently. I mean, they want you to do it twice a day for 20 minutes each time.
Okay.
If I get 20 minutes once, it's like hallelujah.
Yeah.
So, twice a day I'd be like a different person, which is probably the point. But anyway, I do the best I can, and so that's where it stands. And I haven't been doing it for a while, so doing it really, I think, helped settle me down. I also lit Shabbos candles.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, my friend in California has been doing it, and so we sort of did it together, and that was really sweet. That just also
Yeah.
like took me in a little bit. So I think
Yes.
those
And
processes are really good if you're trying to get to your dreams and trying to get to something deeper in yourself to do that before bedtime. And
well, I have been learning, I mean, for so many decades now, but more specifically this past year, how that liminal place, which we always talk about between, falling asleep and then sleeping,
Mhm.
right in the middle of that, right before I sleep, this is when I have found it an amazing time for me to do my extended prayer meditation, my
Mhm.
prayer walk,
Mhm.
prayer cathedral. So, but I would just recommend that too if you want to start doing your meditation 20 minutes twice a day. That might be you don't have to like even carve out a time, just when you drop to go to or are you like chasing sleep by the tail? Is it hard for you to fall asleep?
No, not
No.
really. Not, I mean, unless I'm really, something's really like
On
chemically
your
going
end.
on, like, uh, things are imbalanced physically or
Yes.
something. But no, generally not. Generally, I'm pretty good to fall asleep.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So
but I
then
like, yeah, I like doing the meditation before.
it shouldn't bother you then, right before you go to sleep, because I could see if someone has trouble sleeping and then they finally get in the mindset where they can fall asleep, then you don't want to bring them to like something they have to do.
Well, I think it's
Something
hard to do that.
schedule.
When you're about to fall asleep, I don't know that your consciousness is definitely, like you said, that
You're
liminal.
like
You're in between.
fading.
So you'd have to have a lot of consciousness to actually sort of come into that space and do something internally, I think. But
Yes.
sounds like that's what you do. It
That's
sounds
what
like
I
that's
do.
your,
And when something will come into my mind, it's like, oh, I want to think about that. I want to think about what that, lawyer had said about that politician, but I don't want to think about it right now because right now I'm in my meditation. And in my head, I picture myself, consciously putting it on a shelf.
uh-huh.
And
Uh,
then I try after the meditation, if I'm still cognizant enough, I try to have the way I end it, and then I try to look up on the shelves, and
uh,
many times I can remember
in the meditation, you mean the shelf?
after I
Oh,
finish.
oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's still in a meditation, in that foggy place. I have just finished my meditation, and then I want to pay mind to the things that had originally distracted me, and so
Hmm.
I put them on the shelf. And I figure I can't just leave them on the shelf. I have to then go see
Hmm.
what it was, or else that's not going to work for me anymore.
For me, that all sounds like way too much my mental.
Yeah, I know.
And I am such a mental person. I don't
Yeah.
mean I mean my mind. Let me rephrase that. My mind is very active, like already like 24/7, like
Well,
so.
you're a more visual person, I would think. I'm like I'm like words, 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 and I'm better now at being more visual with
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like mind training, this meditation training. I'm
Well,
better
what I mean by when I say that my mind is, it's like it's not in a good way. My mind is not in a good way. I'm like,
chattering.
yes, there's a lot of chatter, and so if I'm falling asleep and then, oh, let me do this thing and let me go to the, that does not work for me personally.
I
Like
understand.
I really need to just keep going in and in and
It's
in. I
all
don't like
trial. It's all trial and error. It's all
it works. Yeah.
really is about learning about yourself and
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
and like staying on yourself, because if we wish to live authentically, if we want to live in a way that we are growing and improving and learning and becoming ever still, I
Mhm.
think that we need to find what works in our own mind. We always talk about the mind. It's like the last unexplored vestige of our world. Well, now I mean, obviously space is also unexplored, but we're starting to explore space. But we scuba dive in the oceans. We're now starting to explore space. But
Mhm.
the mind is like so underutilized.
We're only just beginning, right?
Well,
I think science is just beginning to do all this research on the mind. It's which is pretty exciting, what the
it
mind
really
is
is.
capable, like all that neuroplasticity
Yes.
research and how we can like really reprogram our brains. I'm still waiting for the tutorial on that one.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the narrated
The cliff
tutorial because,
the cliff notes
yeah,
version.
I don't even want to read it. I just want someone to read it to me.
Yes, while I'm rewiring my brain, just kind of
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear that. Yeah, I think
Yes.
whatever works, and it is trial and
We
error.
just
We're
have to
all different.
find
Yeah.
if we are so dedicated to. And I
Sorry.
feel if we are so dedicated to explore our
Yeah.
mind, and I'm sure a large part of it for me is that as my physicality became less reliable,
Yeah.
the imagination, you can go deeper and deeper into the imagination. So I know that had something to do with this,
Hmm.
that the less I can hike and be, in beautiful places in nature, and um, the more work I had to do on my mind.
Internal. Yeah, I get that. I so get that. Every once in a while I have a thought like, what if I didn't have my body? What if, something happened? Like
Right?
I would want to die. I think I would just want to die because I'm so physical. But
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe I would for a little bit, but then
Yeah.
I would do like what you're doing. There would be like more
Yes.
internal, you know.
Yes.
And what a gift that is, that you have that really maybe more than a lot of people.
And so, what's that quote like? And with this gift comes great responsibility,
Mm,
something like that, and maybe that's true too, because I
yeah.
do have opportunity to delve on the
Yeah.
inner verse, the inner.
Yes, the Innerverse. I like
I
that.
like
I like
that.
it very much. Yeah, that's really cool. The Innerverse,
The inner verse.
like
You
not the
heard it here
multiverse.
first.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's your superpower.
So, and then, yeah. So I don't want to take all this time away from where we could
Okay.
be exploring your dream.
All right. Well, I'll dig in. I do. There's things that are going on in my waking life. Do you want me to say them before so that you have or should I just do this and then say it after?
Take them after.
Okay. I am going to teach something about food to children. Was in a hotel room and there was an audience down in the big room that I thought would be, and I thought I would be teaching, I thought it would be going to be an adult audience, but it
Okay.
turns out somehow it changed to children as my focus, but somehow it felt right to do that. Like somebody else changed it and I was like, you know what? That's what it should be. Like somebody else suggested, I was like, that's more correct. I should be teaching to children about
Okay.
food. That was number one dream. Number two dream is it okay to just go
Yes,
on?
please. Just go
Okay.
on.
Um, I'd been on a radio show or a podcast. Here we are. Um, I shared my opinion about something political, even though it was not the subject matter of the show. And it seemed like somehow like a natural flow to the conversation on the podcast to me. But when I went back to the hotel room, Tim, my ex-husband, who keeps popping up in my dreams forever and ever, amen, and I were laying in the bed, sort of intertwined, and he said, "I shouldn't have done that. That that I should." For some reason, he felt like I shouldn't have done that. Like that was like he was giving me feedback, and he was like, "Yeah, it was good, but like I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have shared my opinion on that show for some reason." And
Oh,
then we attempted to make love, and it was super tepid. It was just like, no,
I wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And then the third dream was all I remember was simply that I couldn't hear out of one ear, and then I could hear, and then I couldn't hear out of the other ear.
Oh,
It was really
wow.
weird. I woke up, I was like, uh-oh, is there something wrong with my hearing?
Yes.
So that was just like a little snippet. But um yeah. Do you
So,
want me to just kind of say things about it, or do you
well, I first want to ask some specific questions. So, give a quick, like one word title for each of the three.
Okay, the first one would be I think it's supposed to be about food.
Okay.
I'll tell you more about that later.
Yes.
Why I think that's the title. I think it's supposed to be more about food.
Okay. And then the second one.
I'm getting an aha. The second one, I don't know, something like it's a like there was something about it being okay for me. It's okay. It's okay to say my opinion, even if it doesn't
Okay.
seem appropriate. I don't know how to title that, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
And then the
I'm
third.
gonna say it anyway. And the third, I don't know. I don't know what the third is. It's just like uh, um, I'm scared I'm not hearing, or I'm not hearing right. I'm not
Right.
hearing right.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, I just want to say those were a lot more than one word.
Yes, they were. I know. I
I'm just
knew that.
kidding. I,
I'm not good at the titling
no,
thing.
I know, and I didn't need to put, I didn't mean to put it as a challenge. I just wanted. So, so if I'm just right away, well, of course, I'm drawn to all of them, but I want to talk about the hearing one first for some reason, if you don't mind. So, any associations from waking life?
I mean, lately I have been wondering if I'm losing hearing a little. I mean, I know I'm losing hearing just a little bit in one ear. I think it's been sort of like that for a while. I mean, I hear perfectly fine,
Yes,
everything, but
yes.
so there's nothing specific at all. Nothing happened. There wasn't,
Okay,
so, but it's just, yes, there is a little bit of hearing loss, but I don't think it doesn't, it doesn't feel like there's any connection to waking life.
okay. If this were my dream, I had a thing where I used to have a real roller coaster of symptoms with the multiple sclerosis. I was having relapsing remitting. So it's like a roller coaster of like losing the feeling in my hands, or going getting itchy on my back, or there's everything that your neurology could be connected to, which is everything in your body, could fail. And so at one point, someone called, I picked up the phone and I couldn't hear them. And I realized I can't hear out of my right ear. So I went to a neurological ophthalmologist, and I don't think he knew I had MS when he saw me. And he's like, it's remarkable. You can hear tones and volume, not volumes, but tones, with your right ear, but you can't make out human language. So apparently there was a separate nerve for deciphering human language,
Mm.
and he was amazed because he didn't realize. I was pretty amazed also. He didn't realize I had multiple sclerosis, and I never knew that the ear was built like that. So that's making me want to think of, you know, if I lose hearing, that actually is a great loss. I think about it because my friend,
Really big loss to me.
what did you say?
It would be a really big loss to
It
me.
would
And
be a
I
really
mean,
big loss.
it's hard to imagine like anybody would say that, right?
Right.
Who hasn't already lost their hearing? Everybody would be like, you can't even imagine what it would be like, how your world would be. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't even.
I heard something once about, I don't know if this is true. I'm sorry if I'm spreading rumors. Serial killers often are hard of hearing or can't hear. I don't know if that's true. Never mind. I'm telling tales out of school.
I don't know, and I don't know that it's relevant, but okay.
Yeah.
That's,
But to me, that means that there's our auditory sense is so vitally important,
yeah, yeah.
that hearing the birds, hearing the frogs at night,
Oh
hearing,
God, yes,
whatever it is, the water, the wind,
yeah,
it's,
yes,
and
yeah,
that's not even to mention each other's voices and
absolutely.
song, and
Yeah.
I think that that would take away a lot of the pleasure out
Mhm,
of life to
mhm. I would think so.
lose that. Yeah. So, okay, can you can you take us through a reality check, just one dream to the next?
Sure. So the reality check of the first dream where I'm kind of in a hotel room and getting ready to do this lecture that I think is going to be to adults, but then somehow I get a message somehow. I don't know if it's somebody came in or um, and said you're going to be you're going to be teaching this about food to
Yes.
children. I mean, I was going to be teaching about food to adults, but
Was this a cooking class as well?
I don't know. It wasn't. It was just like a lecture, and I don't really know exactly what I was
Okay.
teaching. But here's the reality check. I have recently signed up for a 3 month long, very intensive course creation webinar. So it
Okay.
teaches you how to create a course online.
Yes.
And the course can be absolutely anything whatsoever, whatever you feel like you're good at, whatever you want to teach. And they take you like literally holding your hand, like how to get to the ideas, how to flesh out the ideas, how to say, who is your audience, whatever, how is it going to go, the structure, the whole thing. So
Yes.
we're at the very, very beginning stages of like, what is your idea? You have to know that before you could do any of the next levels. And
Right.
so I'm like racking my brain because I have some idea, um, but I just can't make it work. I can't figure out who my audience is. I've been literally racking my brain, and my brain, like when I get anxious, then I get anxious because
Yes.
too many things going around, and I freeze. My brain feels like gets frozen. so, so
Yeah.
anyway, that's a
Oh
little bit
my.
of aside, but like
Yes. Yeah.
somebody mentioned oh, it was like a person who I don't really know that well, but she knows a little bit about me. She knows I like to cook and she knows I'm a good cook. And she said, what about teaching people like how to make soups? And now, I mean, okay, that's not exactly where, I was going more with like, somatic, like movement and art and, like a little bit deeper in the word,
Right.
when she said that, I was like, what if I were to do something with food? I mean, I do love food, and people have said like my food is like restaurant quality. I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
I'm not saying that to brag because I don't know that.
Now
But
I'm hungry.
I just cook and eat, and I know what I like, and I do
Yeah,
feel
sure. I
whatever.
think that's a beautiful talent.
It actually is. I mean, it's really it's warming. It warms me, and it's fun to feed.
Literally and
Yeah,
figuratively.
and it's also soothes my anxiety. So it could anyway, I'm getting off onto a little tangent, but the reality is that I'm working through
Yes.
the ideas in my mind about what to do for
Yes.
this course, and I have to
Yes.
do it really soon. I have to do it like within about a week. I have to figure out. Now, this doesn't have to be a permanent thing, but it just for now, for this course, which costs a lot of money, like I'm going to make this work. so so I
I
feel like
I
this pressure,
I
and I
love the idea of cooking. And when you had said that you were thinking of the arts and you wanted maybe to get a little bit deeper, my first thought was, well, how could you get deeper than the food? Because you can also make it look beautiful, or and how do you get much deeper than something you're literally
well,
ingesting?
yeah, that's really interesting way of looking at it, actually. I think I was thinking of it in terms of like, you teach what you know, right? You teach who you
Yes,
are, what you need to learn. You're like 2 steps ahead of your people, pretty much.
yes,
So, for me, my anxiety has really been lifelong, and I recognize it as such now. I don't think I always did, but and I wanted it to be about anxiety, but like not about anxiety. Like anyone can just Google about anxiety, but like
sure.
tools, and the tools that I use are writing, movement, art, cooking, and probably some other things. But those are things that I actually like, being out in nature. So rather than making it so broad like that, I do love the idea of cooking as a way to relieve anxiety.
Yes, I love that. I
That's
love
kind
that.
of cool, right? It's very particular.
Very
It's very
cool.
niche. Anyway, I think that's what the dream was saying.
I
Like
think so
that's
too.
my reality check, and like that's.
Yes, beautiful. I love that. Yeah.
I don't know about the children aspect of it, but maybe there's something about the kids in there somewhere with food, and I don't know. Um,
When I was in high school, my best friend's mom taught cooking classes to preschoolers
uh,
at the Y.
that sounds like a lot of
And
fun.
she loved it. I mean, what better way for a young child to learn about, measurements and counting and
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is cooking is involves a lot. I mean, the way I
yes.
cook, I'm pretty much like a little of this. Here's my teaspoon.
Speck of this, a little
Yeah,
bit of that.
yeah, I'm not really, but but you could
Yeah, yes.
measure. Yeah. So that's a reality check of that one.
Okay.
Next one, reality check. Like, I don't know, here we are on a podcast, but I think also I've been thinking about doing a podcast myself
Right.
that has to do with, you know,
The arts.
anxiety
Oh,
and how
and,
to manage it and how I manage it and how to,
yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
what, how to help people manage it through
Yeah.
different things. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
not really sure.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can be doing both things, the in-person cooking class and then the online class that can be also the visual arts, the physical arts, the vocal, whatever,
Mhm.
all of that can be a part of more of an online
Yeah. Yeah.
course.
Yeah. It could be different sections for
Yes,
different, yeah, like, okay, so the next three sections of the course is going to be like how to use cooking as a way to relieve your anxiety or something. I don't know. I don't know if that would work, but anyway, it's just kind of a fun idea.
so Stephen Larson taught us to look at, you could look at a dream this way, but I'm looking at the three this way. It's like three different parts. There's the crisis, and that would be what am I going to teach this class on?
Mhm.
And then the lysis, and I guess that's like the unfolding of how, and then it's the conclusion. So, not really sure how the third one would be the conclusion, except maybe I'm instructing myself to listen a little more deeply into what my inner self needs to be doing right now.
And maybe that's why it was like with the hearing, it was like
Yeah,
I can't hear,
exactly.
I can't hear. So maybe I just need to like, yeah, really, yeah. I
Just
hear what
open,
that's,
open yourself back up, and yeah,
and sink in a little bit, like that's
yeah,
the only place the solution or the answers ever come from.
that's right.
It never comes from my head. It never comes from anyone's head. It's just
Yes.
too much, yes, our heads are good. My mind is good. I have
The heads are only
heart.
part of the equation.
Yeah, it's like I can employ my mind when I need to organize things or pay the bills or get to work or,
Yes,
decide which clothes to put on. I mean, there's
right.
many ways to do that.
Yes,
And yeah, knowing what my soul yearns for is never going to be in my mind. It's never going to be known from that place. So,
right. Yeah, right. So, somehow my dream snippet kind of reminds me of the whole process. And just to say, um, I had a dream that I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, "Oh no, I can't do this at this age in my life. I can't be having a baby, and then like, will I be able to then see this baby through his life or her life?" And I, my overall feeling was, I really don't want to be doing this, you know, with a baby. I'm doing it with a 12-year-old, doing it with a 24-year-old, but
mm,
we're good. We're good. We've
yeah,
procreated
I'm
enough.
done. I'm done with that.
I'm done. So, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
My dream was just like I made the decision that I didn't want to be doing. I didn't. I don't know that. And it may have had to do with that now in our country, terminating a pregnancy is not a constitutional right anymore.
Right. We don't necessarily have that choice anymore.
So it could, maybe it's that. It's like, well, what would I do? So I haven't really put myself in those shoes because in my child rearing years, abortion was legal, you
Mhm.
know, and so maybe just putting myself in the shoes of a younger woman who has this right taken away from her. So even if she doesn't want to do this, she doesn't have a right not to. So I'm thinking it might have something to do with that.
Hmm. How did it feel?
Um, I mean, I was glad when I woke up.
You're like, glad that.
Oh, I don't really have to deal with this. You know, this is just something
Funny, I
good.
had a dream recently. I think did we talk about that dream where I was my age, 62, and I was pregnant.
No.
Yeah, I didn't write it down, unfortunately, so I don't know what else was around surrounding it, but I just remember that. I'm like, what?
Well, to me, and that this is why I was concerned that I wanted to abort this baby, because often I think of a baby in a dream as something new that will be
Yeah,
created.
I
So
was going to say that.
that's but and if I but I'm feeling like no, I don't want to create this. So there's something new that I'm realizing isn't the best course of action for myself.
And is there something in waking life that's kind of a reality check there about that?
Um,
Is there?
Nothing that I can bring to mind, but I'll certainly think about it. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I think about that too, about babies
right.
and pregnancy, that it's like being
That-
pregnant with an idea, with a concept, with a
exactly.
project,
Exactly.
a new thing. And usually it's for me, it feels always like a good sign, like something's brewing. Um, but it sounds like in your experience that was not okay somehow.
You know, and I do have a project brewing, but I'm not gonna put because I'm not gonna put that project into the mindset of, oh, I could just abort it, because I don't want to abort it. I
Mhm.
want to birth that project. So I don't know if this is indicating to me that there might be more hurdles to doing it, or if that's just more emotional. I just don't know what. I feel like that dream might be in its own way advising caution for me. With if I heard you tell me that dream, I would I would say exactly what you said. Like, well, is there something new that?
Yeah, maybe about like there's something that feels like that's not the way. That's not the way. Like that there's this project that is brewing in you, whatever
Yes,
it is, and you want to do it in waking life. It
yes.
feels a little bit like maybe explore the ways to make that thing happen.
Okay.
Because like being pregnant at your age and like already having kids, like that's not the way.
Right.
That's not the way to make this happen.
That's not the way.
So like maybe it's just about like seeing if there are other options or something, or other avenues, or other
Yes.
um it's kind of what happened for me in my first dream, whereas like I had this, I was going to do a thing, and then somehow there was this voice or a person or someone said,
Yes.
you're going to do it this way.
Right. And it came from an external source.
Came from external, and it was why it came from inside myself, but it came in the dream, it came
Sure.
from an external source, and it was just like, oh yeah, that's cool. So it might be that there's something, some way that
Yes.
is even better that you don't know yet.
I love that.
You know?
I want to tell your second dream again, because that's the the lice.
The
That's
second
the
dream,
problem. Yeah.
yeah, the second dream was that I was on a podcast, a radio show or a podcast, and I had said something like I expressed my
Oh,
critical
yes, yes.
viewpoint about something, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, oh yeah, that blah blah blah, and kind of strongly said
Yes.
that in the sort of in the chat or the conversation,
Right. Yes,
and
yes.
then came back to the hotel room, and Tim was there, and we were like laying on the bed sort of intertwined, kind of
Yeah.
downloading about it, and he was like, oh, it was really good, except I wouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, he said. You shouldn't
Well,
have
it's
said
a good thing we're different people.
that. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what the implication was. I shouldn't have done that because I don't know if it was dangerous to do so
Or
or
like offensive.
offensive, dangerous, or like I interjected in a place that it didn't belong. And that's
Yeah,
kind of what it felt like. But
yes,
I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. The host was talking. The host was hosting, and there you go, stepping on her toes or his toes. Just kidding. Well, I think that those are wonderful, and I see that we have 2 minutes 45 seconds. And because I feel like the past couple were, shortened, I do want to say goodbye
Mhm.
before I say goodbye to you. So, listeners, thank you for accompanying us, and we wish you sleep sweet dreams. Holamod Metukin.
Sweet dreams, everybody. So long.
So that's real interesting. So, was this just last night or a couple of nights ago?
Last night. Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something I wanted to ask you, but like later, but now I can't remember what it was.
Well, call me
Yeah.
later. I'll
I,
be here.
I like what it was right there, and I just completely lost it.
This gave me a lot of food for thought.
Oh, good.
Ideas of like, as my physical limitations, limit me,
Mhm.
my my imaginative skills
I love that. I
is
love that.
really having an opportunity to be built,
Yeah.
and to how
Yeah.
does this work and will that work and I've changed things around so much in my mind, but the fact that I'm giving this much attention to it is something that I probably would not be doing if I
Yeah.
could be
Right.
out
You'd be
hiking.
busy out running around and right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know. I don't want to say I envy that, but
No, don't.
I really, but and
And
like to just be able to see the gifts of different ways of being in the world,
yes,
right? Like we're all like everybody is, we all have
right.
dysfunctions, and I have my mental thing that goes on.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
all have
that
different
makes me
things
feel
that
like
we
a
have to
crazy
deal
person.
with.
Yeah, like I do deal with that. I mean, I joke about it and laugh about it, and it is, ADHD and anxiety are real things, and
Yeah,
I manage so well in life, but like sometimes I feel like a little cuckoo. I
yeah.
really feel like a little crazy, and so I'm just saying that that's my thing, like
Listen, if you're cuckoo,
lifestyle.
what does that say about me?
I know. Well, I do have a lot of
Totally, totally kidding.
fabulously cuckoo friends.
So
So
we should say goodbye because it says less than 1 minute.
less than 1 minute. Yeah. Well, we already did say goodbye
No, but I mean to each other.
to each other. Okay. Okay. I can't. I hope this is gonna be edited out. I assume this
Come
part.
on, let's just end it. I don't edit. When will you?